to your weekly World Climate Change News Report. Our headlines this week are dramatic ice loss in less than 30 years, wildfires up by 13% in 2020, U.S. attitudes change on climate crisis, potential revisions to EU's climate goals, satellite images enable climate strategy prioritization, climate change adaptation lacking in Europe, and 2 hurricanes on the same day. Our first story, dramatic ice loss in less than 30 years. A new study shows that our planet lost 31 trillion US tons of ice in 23 years due to climate change. About 68% of the losses have been caused by higher air temperatures, while the remaining percentages have been driven by warmer oceans. The researchers also predict a sea level rise of approximately 3 feet by 2100. Additional consequences of ice melt include increased global warming, scarcity of drinking water, and ecosystem disruption. Next, wildfires up by 13% in 2020. New findings suggest that instances of fires across the globe are already increased by 13% compared to 2019. 75% of the wildfires are started by humans and have released carbon dioxide equivalents to that emitted by all EU countries combined on an annual basis. Wildfires and climate change form a vicious cycle as dry and hot conditions exacerbate fires, while the CO2 pumped into the atmosphere increases global heating. Next up, U.S. attitudes change on climate crisis. New survey data from the New York Times revealed that Americans are increasingly acknowledging the threat of climate change and becoming more motivated to take action. 81% of Americans now believe that the Earth has gotten warmer. The amount of people motivated to act has increased over the last 5 years from 13% to 25%, making it the second largest American concern after abortion. Our fourth story, potential revisions to the EU's climate goals. Next month, the European Commission will discuss the possibility of strengthening the EU's 2030 climate goals. It's been suggested that increasing the 2030 emissions reduction target from 40% to 55% would help keep the EU on track to achieving the ultimate goal of carbon neutrality by 2050. EU countries are split on the decision, with some favoring more aggressive strategies in the fight against climate change, whilst others aren't sure if it justifies the cost. Our fifth story, satellite imagery enables climate strategy prioritization. Using NASA satellite data, scientists have created maps which convey the ecological quality of tropical forests. Factors that were considered include tree height, canopy thickness, and the presence of major disturbances, which were combined to create one single quality score. In terms of climate strategy, this sort of map is invaluable because it allows policymakers to easily identify which forests have the highest capacity for carbon storage. This will allow conservation efforts to be more targeted, increasing climate change mitigation. Our next story, climate change adaptation lacking in Europe. Insurance Europe believes that the EU needs to do more to prevent climate change impacts, including strengthening building codes, more thorough site analysis for construction projects, and building flood barriers to increase climate resilience. Extreme climate events are already being experienced, and rather than dealing with the aftermath, we should be focused more on prevention. This group suggested that public-private partnerships should be utilized in order to help keep adaptation costs down, and that insurers could help governments with their enforcement. And our final story, 2 hurricanes on the same day. 2020 has been an eventful year, making history for various reasons. It's only August, and the string of peculiar doesn't seem to be slowing down. 2 hurricanes are set to make landfall in the U.S. on the same day for the first time in history. With climate change increasing the intensity of hurricane seasons, this marvel isn't just something to be spectated. We must remember how hurricanes are responsible for many deaths and the destruction of livelihoods of millions of people. This concludes this week's news. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for weekly world climate change news updates.